welcome into the First Choice Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm your host, Brandon, and I'm going to pass it on to Ed to tell you a little bit about us.
What's up? What's up? It's Ed. Me, Brandon, and Alex started First Choice Fantasy as a way for us to explain our opinions on fantasy players from Dynasty to redraft leagues. We've been friends since elementary school, so it puts us about 12 plus years friendship. We've known each other for a long time. We've been playing fantasy since about 8th grade, so that's about 8 years of fantasy experience. And we're just three satirical dudes that want to bring some advice and some content to you guys.
We've got close to 30 years of collective time in the fantasy football realm, so that's about a lifetime to most of our viewers.
See if it means anything.
All right.
So today we're gonna start this off with a mock draft. We did the first round. We highlighted skill position players, quarterbacks, running backs, receivers, tight ends. Although I don't think there's a single tight end in the first round. We're gonna talk about fantasy impact. We'll touch on the non-offense picks, the non-skill position picks, but they're mostly just gonna be glossed over. We got some PowerPoints for some of the first round guys, and then for the rest of the draft, we didn't do rounds 2 through 7 with every player. We just kind of threw skill position players into specific picks, and you'll see this isn't necessarily a realistic fantasy draft as much as it is just interesting. Some of these fits aren't, I don't think these are really going to happen, but it's interesting to talk about. I don't think Jordan Love is going to Chicago at 43, followed by Hunter Bryant to Chicago at 50, but it's an interesting fantasy scenario, so that's really what we're going with here because none of these are right regardless. So why bother?
Next week, we'll be doing a fantasy dynasty mock draft with the rookies with the specific locations in which we place them in this mock draft. So that is the whole purpose of this mock draft. Back to the intro.
He makes guys look stupid.
Without the criminal record, right?
Yes.
I'm going with Jedrick. Whoa.
Once again, I'm going to go with an O-line.
Defensive line.
Once again.
And with pick 1 in the NFL draft, it's the Cincinnati Bengals. Brandon, who do you select?
Well, it's a pretty obvious situation. I'm going to pick Joe Burrow with my first pick. Although I may not be so versatile in my knowledge of college football players, I know obvious positions that these teams need. And it's pretty clear that the Bengals need a quarterback, as Andy Dalton is just not getting it done and hasn't been for years.
4 straight playoff appearances. Or is it 5?
4 or 5, who really knows?
He's good.
Sad to see a fellow Red Rocket disappear. That's sad. Alex, you want to do a deep dive into Joe Burrow real quick?
Joe Burrow, pick 1. So I'll be honest, you guys should know I'm not big on the whole intangibles thing, but you'll see in my second bullet point there, I literally just put intangibles because he's really, really good. And I think he had the best college season a quarterback has ever had. So I'm just throwing on that. I could talk about all day about how he's the smartest player from the quarterback position we've seen in a while out of college, and that he pretty much tore up any defense they came at him. Like Clemson was really good on defense, and he beat the crap out of him pretty easily. The guy can make any throw to anybody, but I like his leadership abilities. I think he's a good fit since he's a key stat there, 76 completion percentage. That's decent. Second pick, Ed, who you got?
With pick 2, though, the Redskins should select Chase Young. It's pretty self-explanatory. They don't need to draft Tua because they already have Dwayne Haskins. There's no point in spending a high draft pick and another quarterback just to fill up the quarterback's room when you have an obvious need on the defense and a generational talent.
I don't know about you, but if I was them, I feel like they should just see what they can get out of Haskins. But as an Eagles fan, I'll take it.
Fair.
Anyway, pick 3. I got the Detroit Lions taking Jeff Okudah. I feel like, honestly, if I was them, I'd probably rather trade down here just because there's a lot of really talented players. But we're not doing trades here, so I'm just going to take a stud cornerback because I think if anyone's going to be an elite cornerback in this class, he's got the highest chance of that. Those guys are pretty freaking valuable. Now that they just traded one away for a 3rd and a 5th round pick, you might as well replace him. Brandon, you're up next. Pick 4. Who you got?
All right, with pick 4, the Giants had a clear issue at offensive line, so I thought it was only appropriate to pick Tristan Wirfs. This move will obviously help Daniel Jones in his decision making. He's a little bit rash when it comes to throwing in pretty tough coverages. But with a little bit more time, Jason Garrett, having trained Dak, a late round pick, and then Tony Romo before that, and made them both into relevant quarterbacks.
It's also worth noting in college, Daniel Jones was not the best when he had any pressure on him. So possibly, obviously seeing Daniel Jones last year, he wasn't too bad. But if you add in offensive tackle to help him with a clean pocket, I think you can just only get better.
Screw the Giants. Pick 5, Ed.
There we go. All right. I got the Dolphins here, obviously, with Tua. Tua, I mean, not much else to say. They need a quarterback. They got plenty of other picks to spend on running back, wide receiver, any other position that they need. Tua's obvious choice here. Second best quarterback. Second quarterback taken off the board. I wouldn't say the second best. I like him.
I'd say the second best. Personally, I'd say the second best.
Well,
But I like Tua. Like I've said on here, he's accurate everywhere. Like he can throw the deep ball. He's a lefty. That's neat.
that is
It's fun to watch left-handers throw the ball really far. That's something you don't see every day. Very mobile, very good at play action, takes care of the ball, or at least took care of the ball in college. I would imagine that would translate to the NFL. I think as long as his medicals check out, which is kind of a question mark right now. But
with this whole Corona thing, yeah.
Yeah, but you got to do what you got to do. So.
Did you see the clip
Stud.
released about his pro day?
No, what was that?
They just everybody has to take videos now of their pro day because obviously
Oh yeah.
in their recording. But supposedly I didn't see like raving reviews about it. It was just like I guess kind of scared. But then again, he did just come back from a hip injury, so I mean you can't really.
I mean, watching him in college, I feel like.
Yeah, I feel like that's enough.
I'd be comfortable with it. If you think that you're getting a guy whose hips work, then take it.
All right, with pick 6.
All right, pick 6. Going Justin Herbert. I'll be honest. Actually doing the write up for this, I'm a bigger fan of Herbert than I was. I think he firmly belongs here. I think he's probably a step behind Burrow and Tua, but worth the number 6 pick. I think this would be a good pick for the Chargers, especially if they want to keep Taylor and have him sit behind him for maybe not the whole season, but just for a little bit. But like the arm talent, the size is all there. Like he's very mobile. He's got the physical traits. He can make all the throws, and like he improved. Like I feel like that there's something to be said about that. Learning to go through your progressions better. I think he clearly showed the ability to do that, and he's a very smart guy. I think he played in like 3 different offenses and learned them all. Like that's good. I think he's a solid pick.
With 4.0 in school, I think 4.0 or better than that. I think something like
What's
that.
that? Say that again.
Finish with a 4.0.
I believe it. Everything I've read about him shows that he's a very smart person. I think, transitioning between like 3 different college offenses and really doing pretty well in all of them is a credit to him. I think this is a solid pick for the Chargers.
There's question marks about Justin Herbert with his leadership ability. Have you read into that?
I mean, I read something about that. It said he's not a commanding presence, but that's kind of where I said earlier. I think intangibles is sometimes bullshit. I wonder if that's not going to be that, because I'm not taking the guy because I don't think he can lead. I don't know.
It's fair. Understandable.
I don't know if that would do it. Although then again, maybe in 4 years he leaves because he was didn't get along with the coach, and I look like an idiot in the end. But it's the beauty of the draft. You never know.
You never know.
Somebody took Tim Couch, number 1 overall.
Jamarcus Russell, number 1 overall.
That was
not always
Al Davis.
Yeah.
With the 7th pick, I'm picking Isaiah Simmons. Obviously, Luke Kuechly leaving early of retirement. Such a great player needs to be replaced with a potentially great player, and with a new coach coming in. With a new coach coming in, Matt Rule, he's going to want his team about where they were at last season. So Isaiah Simmons would give them that best shot.
All right, so with the 8th pick, the Cardinals take Derek Brown. Played defensive tackle at Auburn. Am I correct with that?
Yeah, you are
This
very
is an
correct.
area where I would have them trade down probably, just because they could get more value. They could even take a offensive tackle later in the draft. Say it's like, I don't know, mid-first round, then get Jedrick Wills.
So I probably would have gone with Wills here myself. However, Derek Brown is a very solid defensive tackle, and like unlike a lot of guys, he projects to come in and immediately be an animal in the run game with that pass rushing juice. I don't think this is a bad pick. Really, I briefly considered him at 3 as well. I just feel like
Jedrick
Kudo
Wills?
was probably more of a pressing need. Who?
Oh, I thought you were saying Jedrick
No,
Wills.
Derek Brown.
I was going to say, what? All right.
Pick
Pick-
9. Going with a surprise here. Anyone think they were seeing CD here?
I didn't see him a single time with the Jaguars.
All right. I don't know if he's being mocked here, but I'm taking him here because he's a freaking animal. And the only thing he doesn't have is that top of the line speed, but doesn't matter because he's really agile. He's got like the running ability of a running back. Like he will run right through guys. Great ball skills, great ball control, great body control. He can track the deep balls. He can get open any level of the field. 21.4 yards per catch. That's insane. And Jacksonville has a lot of needs. However, I'm of the opinion that the easiest way to build a winning team in the NFL is to build a really high-powered passing offense. And they got a great receiver in DJ Chark, so they're going to give him a running mate.
Bringing Jay Gruden in also helps because, I mean,
Yeah, he should
Yeah.
help
he's a
the
pretty good
offense.
offensive-minded offensive coordinator. As a head coach, obviously, he struggled with the Redskins, but
Who
I feel like
doesn't struggle with the
like for that
Redskins here?
offense.
Let's be real.
What was that?
I said, who doesn't struggle with the Redskins here? Let's be real.
Like the Browns. I mean, Ron Rivera's
Yeah,
probably
it's just
struggled with the Redskins as well.
can't. All right, pick 10. Who you got, Brandon?
Speaking of the Browns,
Ugh.
I've got Andrew Thomas going to the Browns. They obviously need offensive line help because Baker Mayfield took a huge step back. And personally, I think a lot of that has something to do with Freddie Kitchens. But he's gone. So let's bring in some offensive line to help him out.
Really, whatever you think Cleveland's biggest need is, they can just get it next year after they go 4-12 and get another top 10 pick.
That's fair.
And the same argument can probably be made here. The Jets, next pick, they won 7 games last year.
Jets.
How is that even possible?
The Jets obviously have a glaring need of wide receiver, but with this pick, we decided to go with Mekhi Becton. I'm not sure why we didn't go Jerry Jeudy here. Mekhi Becton is not a terrible choice, especially after seeing his 40.
Good choice.
It was a pretty good pick for the Jets to help Sam Darnold stay.
It's one of those dancing bear types.
And
Like
plus,
6'8", huge.
And after the Jets put so much money down on Le'Veon Bell, they're going to want to open up some running lanes to really utilize his skill set and what he brings to the table. So I really think this is a smart move to make them appear smart by signing Le'Veon Bell to such a large deal, so that way he
I don't think
has
you can
better
undo that.
yardage.
I don't think you can undo that. You can help make Sam Darnold's
You
life a
can
lot
make
easier.
an
I don't think
attempt.
Becton is a bad pick.
But
I
as
think
long as Adam Gase is there,
you're done.
no attempt is worth making because he's
All right,
just
let's stop
gonna
talking about the
squander
Jets.
anyway.
Shall we?
All right, let's get into
So
it.
a much
that's
more
enough of
interesting
Jets
team.
talk today.
We got the now Las Vegas Raiders. That's going to be a treat.
Whoa.
Pick 12. Well, you guys didn't take Judy yet, so I'm just going to keep snapping up all these receivers because this guy is also really freaking good. I think he's the best route runner in the class. He's extremely agile. He reminds me a lot of Antonio Brown. I don't know how much you guys watch him, but like he makes guys look stupid.
Without the criminal record, right?
Yes, I don't think he has a criminal record, at least not yet. Although Brown had some concerns coming out of college as well. So but yeah, Judy is really good. And as I put down there, he can do it all. They used him primarily out of the slot this year at Alabama, where he was incredible because he's really good. And the previous year, they used him as a downfield threat because he's a stud and he's going to score no matter where you put him at.
I agree.
Pick 13. Brandon, you're up.
CJ Henderson was my pick for the San Francisco 49ers. I think it's important to get a cornerback that can fill in the shoes of Richard Sherman once he eventually leaves.
Also, they just need someone to play opposite Sherman right now. It seems like they weren't too thrilled with Witherspoon. Is that his name?
Yeah, Witherspoon, he benched him last year.
That's
What do you
not
guys
ideal.
think if they were to trade for Rasul Douglas? I think they would still take CJ Henderson here.
Yes.
You think
I
so?
don't think you trade for Rasul Douglas and then be like, well, our quarterback room is fixed now.
Yeah, but there's unnecessary depth at that position at that point. Because
Nah, I don't think. All right. I mean, what are they going to trade for him? Like Dante Pettis? Maybe a 7th-round pick? I don't think you move a 6th-round or a 7th-round pick for somebody and then say that you short up the cornerback room. Think about it right now. Are we not going to take a corner? Are the Eagles going to pass on a cornerback in the 2nd or 3rd round if they think it's BPA because we have Rasul Douglas? And if the answer is yes, I will jump out this window.
But would you say that he was the best player available here for the 49ers? I wouldn't say that. I would say Kinlaw would probably be up there as the best player available at this point.
I mean, I could see them going that, and especially with Buckner leaving. I mean, obviously this is just mock draft, but if they liked Henderson, yeah, I could see it. I mean, I don't think he's a bad prospect.
I don't think he's bad, but I was just
I
saying.
think he'd be good. I would like him. I'd like Sherman to get a hold of him. Probably the smartest defensive back in the game. I wouldn't mind. And Henderson has all the athletic abilities. Guy's really fast. He can stick with anyone. I don't think this is bad.
I also think
there's some concerns
building off
about
of what
his effort level or something like that. But Sherman. Anyway, Brandon, what were you saying?
Yeah, building off of what you said, Ed, if they were to trade for Rasul Douglas or even any cornerback for that matter, I feel like that would shake up the whole landscape of their pick here because I would personally, if they would trade for a cornerback, I would personally take a wide receiver. I'd get the most value where it's at. And I really think that if they went to the Super Bowl with what they got last year with the cornerback that was benched, what do you think they could do if they've got a Jerry Jeudy if he fell or a Ruggs to build on Shanahan's offense? I think that'd be pretty lethal.
I could see them trading here. They don't have picks between rounds 2 and 4.
And tradings, I think
because they have pick 30 and then, pick 31 and 13. I'd be
really think the
surprised if they don't move down
49ers
from one of
picks
these.
are going to be a team to watch for trades.
I believe
I'd say
they
so.
could possibly trade it to the Eagles. I would be interested in that as an Eagles fan.
It is worth pointing out that the three of us are all very strong Eagles fans, as you might have noticed by now. But
we all like the Eagles.
I mean, if a receiver fell at 13 and they were trying to move that pick, I could see the Eagles doing it.
Yeah.
Although there are reports that said they're not going to trade up. So, what do we really know?
Yeah.
Anyway, Ed, you're up.
I'm up.
Pick 14.
I love my
Who you got?
So I'm going with Jedrick Wills to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
I like this. I don't think he falls this far in real life. The guy is pretty good.
What would
are a lot of guys.
I think going to the Buccaneers, it's necessary. So obviously they're going to have to take an offensive tackle at this pick, in my personal opinion, just to keep Brady safe. He's an old guy, obviously. Not saying he's injury prone, but if you take a hit at 40 years old, you're likely going to.
I wonder. To me, they're one of the bigger wild cards. I don't know who they'll go here because I think you have to have some trust in Brady, and maybe Brady has said to them I want to tackle, and maybe not. We don't know, but I think there's some. I think there's some trust having Brady back there that he knows how to get rid of the ball quickly.
Brady has also said that he wanted Antonio Brown. That's not going to happen. It's not always
It's also not going to happen because they've already got Evans and Godwin.
That would be a nasty trio, though. Am I wrong?
In their defense, their third receiver is
Scotty Miller.
Yeah. And who is Scotty Miller again?
He's good. Don't do that.
Don't do that to Ed.
I'm gonna do that. Where did Scotty Miller go to college?
Bowling Green. And you know where they're forced to?
I don't even know where Bowling Green is. That's a stupid college name. All right. I hope nobody potentially watching this goes to Bowling Green, because what a dumb name for a college.
Very harsh. Yeah, I would.
It is harsh.
Very
Anyway.
harsh. You
Take it
Enough of Tom Brady. I'm tired of talking about Tom Brady.
Next pick.
Denver, pick 15. That's me. And I am, once again, going with a wide receiver. Henry Ruggs. Henry Ruggs the third. I like this guy. Really wish he'd fall to our Eagles, but, it's not going to happen. Fastest player in the draft, I think 40 times. They're way overrated, but he plays to his speed. But he's not just a fast guy. He's not John Ross. He knows how to vary his speeds. He knows how to get open. He's got really good hands. I think he dropped like 1 or 2 passes last season. He dropped like 4 or 5 in his college career. That's pretty good. He doesn't get the target share that a lot of these top receivers get, but that's because Alabama's just perennially loaded with receiver talent. That's not really Ruggs' fault. But, yeah, he's really good. He's going to help Denver out a lot, I think. That would give Cortland Sutton a lot of room to work.
I believe this also helped Drew Lock a lot.
It will help Drew Lock.
Yeah.
Drew Lock's got a nice arm. I think they could be good together.
He's got a great supporting cast this year, and if he doesn't perform better than last year, I would have a lot of questions.
I'm starting to like Denver. Denver looks like they're putting together a pretty solid roster. And Locke played. I think he played good at the
He did.
circumstances.
Played a good
I didn't really care for him too much personally, but
yeah,
I don't know. I was impressed. If I was a
Ruggs-
Denver fan, I think I'd be happy about it.
With Ruggs coming in, does this change your outlook on players like Noah Fant or even Melvin Gordon?
I mean,
don't think it does personally.
Fant, no.
With Ruggs taking off the top, does this
I think
not
Ruggs
open
is-
up lanes for
I'm-
Fant, Cortland Sutton taking attention?
I would say.
I think it'll help to give those two guys more space. Although Fant is also a guy who can stretch the field. Really, I think Ruggs is just a talented receiver, and if you have the chance to add a talented receiver, you do it.
Yeah,
So that's
why
what we're doing.
not?
That's fair. Pick 16. You got Brandon.
Who you got?
All right, pick 16. I've got Javon Kinlaw.
Going to the Falcons.
Yes, going to
Another
the Falcons.
Very good player. This is probably a little low for him, but too bad.
And pick 17, I guess I'll go. It is the Cowboys, and we have Trayvon Diggs going to the Cowboys. They obviously have a cornerback need with Byron Jones leaving. And I just feel like it would help them in a division where the Eagles could possibly upgrade their receiving core majorly this offseason, which you would expect it, but, you never know with the Eagles. And, yeah, I feel like it's a need, big need.
Nice. Very physical corner. I feel like Dallas likes their physical corners, so that just seems like a Dallas pick to me. They like those guys that can get up and play press coverage.
Yeah.
Like Awuzie or whatever.
Yeah, that guy, Chidobe.
Chidobe. What a name.
Next pick
Miami.
is Alex at 18.
Yeah, I'm kind of regretting this pick actually. Calebon Chason. I think I'm pronouncing this right. I'm not really sure. Looking back on this, I probably wouldn't have done this, but at the time I did. I feel like I could see Miami swinging it. Like I feel like he's a higher upside, lower floor sort of guy. He had a really good national championship game. I feel like he made a lot of plays all over the field. Maybe that'll boost his draft stock. Pretty athletic, but tends to disappear a lot. I don't know. 18 seems a little high for me, but too late. Pick
And with
19.
with the 19th pick, I chose Austin Jackson, another offensive lineman. I got stuck with all the team that needed O-line. And you know what? I find that to be really valuable in my opinion because it opens up lanes for players like Josh Jacobs and a
Give my
great
man Jerry Jeudy
quarterback
more time to
like,
get open,
like
so
Carr.
he can be a productive wide receiver number 1 for my fantasy team.
Yes, he can.
All right, pick 20. I have the Jaguars, and I have them taking Ross Blacklock from TCU. They obviously have a glaring need after losing or trading away Calais Campbell. Who was that to? The Broncos?
No, didn't he go to the Ravens?
Yeah,
Yes,
Ravens.
it was the Ravens. It was
Of course he did.
the Ravens.
Whatever. We're not an AFC team. I don't care. I feel like Jacksonville's got a hole on pretty much every part of the defense that you could identify. So I think you could just take anyone here.
That's fair. They definitely
just
don't
need-
need T. Higgins. I'll tell you that.
You know who does need T. Higgins? Pick
Who?
21. Our Eagles.
They do.
We're going with T. Higgins.
They are.
Right? And I don't know why this man is disrespected as much as he did. This man averaged 19.8 yards per catch last year. That's pretty good. I mean, he said Lamb averaged 21.4, which is insane. But I mean, T. Higgins, he's not. I don't care about the 40 time. I don't care. What was it, like 4 or 5 something?
Did he even? I didn't think he ran at the combine. Did he?
Maybe he ran at a pro day or something. I don't know. I just remember seeing a number for him. I like him. He plays faster than that. He's got those super long legs. He's got those really long strides. He will make space, and he uses his size very well to get open.
He
Like
did.
if you watch,
4 or
if you
5.
watch a lot of his like plays down, because he was a very good deep threat for this team. Like he made plays downfield. A lot of it he used with his body. He's got great hands. He'll go up and get the ball. I know he said a lot of these things about Arcega-Whiteside last year, especially us as Eagles fans. But
I
you
was
know, whatever.
just about to say.
What comp do you
I
have for
was
T. Higgins?
just about-
Comp do I have for him?
Yeah.
I don't.
Not skill, obviously, talent wise, but like play, like how he plays. Would you say like AJ Green, Alshon? What would you?
Yeah, I feel like Alshon is
Alshon.
maybe a good one. But I feel like T. Higgins he's got a little more burst than Alshon. However, I feel like Alshon also had that in Chicago.
Exactly.
Like I feel like, yeah, you know, that's a good one. Like early, still in Chicago, Alshon Jeffrey, where he was like a physical talent. Like to me, that's T. Higgins. Like, and he scored on like it was either 1 out of 4. No, I think it was 20% of his catches were touchdowns at Clemson. Like the guy just produces.
Wow.
I know he had Trevor Lawrence, but I don't care. He's good.
Yeah.
We're taking him.
All right, pick 22. Who you got, Brandon?
Pick 22 for the Minnesota Vikings. I chose Xavier McKinney.
I like this pick.
Yeah, I really
like this.
think the Vikings need a little bit more help with DBs. So
Also, I think
why
it's worth
not?
pointing out whenever Nick Saban takes a safety and trusts him to do all that stuff for their defense, they tend to work out. And that's what McKinney is. So if the Eagles weren't operating with like a slice of toast at receiver, I would have been very happy to take McKinney here, but we are. A slice of toast and
They're just not
however
going to
long
get it done.
Deshaun can stay on the field without dying. Like, please stay healthy, Deshaun, because we need
But it's
you
a good thing we still have Alshon.
on the physically unable to perform list.
Yeah.
If we don't trade and or cut him. Yeah, good thing we guaranteed that contract, though. Anyway, moving on, pick 23, Ed.
The
What you
Patriots
got?
here, I have them taking Kenneth Murray, linebacker from Oklahoma. I don't have much to say about him. Alex, you got anything to say about him?
Yeah, who cares? The Patriots will use him correctly. He's good at rushing the passer. He's good at some stuff. The Patriots will use him correctly. That's just what they do. Similarly, I took a similar approach at pick 24. I took Patrick Queen. I think he's a pretty solid linebacker. The Saints are good pretty much anywhere. I don't really think they need a linebacker. However, I think Patrick Queen's a pretty solid player, so I'm going to give it to him, and I'm going to let him and Demario Davis just kick the crap out of Todd Gurley every game. It's good. But who cares about linebackers? Pick 25. Who you got, Brandon?
Pick 25, the Minnesota Vikings. Once again, I'm going to go with an O-line.
Offensive line.
Once again.
Multiple linemen. It's not a bad
Because,
strategy.
again, another team with a bad O-line who
Does anyone have a
also
good offensive line?
relies on the run. And the Vikings, obviously, with Dalvin Cook already producing the numbers he had last season, obviously an O-line would bump up his value even more. So I find it to be a very smart pick.
Can we just talk about, and I think it might be, like, I'm not saying that you pay Kirk Cousins all that money and have him throw the ball 45 times that game, because that would be stupid, because he's not that good. But can we just talk about how funny it is that the Vikings had all this, like, they had all this receiving talent, and they gave all this money to Kirk Cousins, and then they have a horrible offensive line, and they took, like, no measures to fix it. And they were like, let's just run the ball every play. These NFL teams are dumb.
They're dumb. Alex,
So are we. So it's
well, Alex, you're the next
all evens
GM of
out.
the Eagles. Let's be real.
What's that?
You're the next GM of the Eagles.
Yeah. We're currently doing a
Got it.
podcast with the future GM of the Philadelphia Eagles. He is
When
already
T. Higgins
repping his
busts,
team behind
it's gonna
him.
look
Alex.
really bad for me when T. Higgins catches 6 passes as a rookie and 4 of them are fumbles.
And then he retires the next year.
Well,
Not a good start. Anyway, Ed.
With the 26th pick, I have the Dolphins taking Jonathan Taylor. Could have went any running back here, honestly. I like Swift a lot, but I think Jonathan Taylor is probably going to get higher draft capital than Swift. And the Dolphins obviously need a running back after that mirage of Balaj last year. It was bad. A yard per carry honestly annoyed me as a fantasy owner. And
As it should.
as it should.
So I could sit here and talk about Jonathan Taylor's running ability, but I'm not because he's really good at it. And no matter what scheme you're going to drop him in, it doesn't matter. He's going to succeed in it as long as he's just running the ball because he's really good at it. And if you're going to talk about like a home run hitter, that's him. He's going to make your defensive backs look stupid. So for me, my key stat was 26 catches in 2019. He had 8 the previous 2 seasons apiece, I believe. They didn't really give him a chance. They took him off the field in third downs, despite the fact that he's a good pass protector. Do you think he's going to be able to catch it? Do you think maybe you go Swift here? You already got Jordan Howard to do some running. Are you going to have two down running backs? Who are they going to throw the ball to? Or can Taylor do it? What do you think?
I mean, Taylor obviously had a small sample size throughout his college career of targets, but his senior year he did get, 30 targets around that?
I thought it was 36. I do not know the number off the top of my head. I know he got 26 catches, but that's because I'm reading it off of the slide here. But
No, he had 26 catches his senior year, and then combined in his first 3 years, he only had 24. So obviously, small sample size.
solid pass catching numbers.
The only thing he needed to prove was his receiving ability, and I think he did that this year. And I think if given the opportunity, if used correctly, he could be a decent receiving back.
Well, to me, that's what. Go ahead.
Obviously, better than Jordan Howard is receiving. Guy's got brick hands. But DeAndre Swift wouldn't be a bad pick here as well.
To me, I think the biggest thing for Taylor is that receiving ability. From a real life perspective, but mostly from what this show is from a fantasy perspective, because I think that's what turns him from borderline RB1 to top 3 pick in the following season. Because if he can catch, he's gonna rack up a lot of yards. He's gonna score a lot of touchdowns.
And
He doesn't have to be Christian McCaffrey out there, but as long as he can stay on the field on third downs and do some stuff, because the running talent is there. He's a really good running back. And I mean, I know running backs are weird, but I don't think he's going to pull a Trent Richardson and just run into every pile at any given opportunity when he gets to the big leagues.
Yeah, I think he has good vision. And I also think the Dolphins have great draft capital here with their starting quarterback, starting running back of the future. I think it's pretty beautiful, honestly.
Not a huge fan of the running back in the first round, but pick 26 isn't that bad. And if Jonathan Taylor can catch the ball, then he'll be really good. Honestly, I think he'll be really good anyway. Seattle, AJ Epinesa. So, obviously, the combine wasn't fantastic. However, I feel like on film, he's very good. And, while the technique might lack, it's just because in college he was just throwing people out of the way at any given moment. And yeah, I trust the Seahawks to make something with that. They need some defensive ends. They took a guy last year from TCU whose name I can't even remember, and Jadeveon Clowney, dickhead, is just kind of floating out there in free agency where he will hopefully stay for the rest of his career. But yeah, they got a hole to fill there, so we're going to fill it with this giant man from Iowa.
Respectable.
Yeah, pick 28, Brandon.
For the Baltimore Ravens, I picked Zach Bond. It's outside linebacker.
I like this.
An outside linebacker.
I mean, he's like a linebacker, defensive end hybrid. I like this because Baltimore runs a 3-4, so I feel like is his ideal position as that outside linebacker. Because I mean, he can do it. He can do it all from there. He's good at rushing the passer. He's a little undersized, but playing him in the 3-4 kind of takes the emphasis off of the size a little bit. He's not on the line every single down, and he gets to use some of that coverage skills. I would like this. I could see them going here for real. How about you, Ed? But
With the 29th pick, I have the Titans, and obviously after trading Jarrell Casey, they need a defensive lineman. So I have them taking Neville Gallimore from Oklahoma. Big boy. That's all I got to say about him. Next pick.
Now, I was surprised with this pick because of the uh, missing link with Conklin leaving the Titans.
I'm not sure what offensive tackles they would even be able to take at this.
Yeah, we have kind of blown through a lot of the tackles so far.
You think it would be a reach?
So it's based off of what talent is here. Okay.
Based off talent, plus they have a need at defensive tackle after trading Casey, so it's not a bad pick. It's based on best.
Taking value where it's at.
Exactly. Yep.
All right.
Something to be said about that. Anyway,
Alex?
pick 30, Green Bay. This one could be characterized as a reach by some people, but you know what? Screw those people. I don't care. Taking Brandon Ayuk, I think. Arizona State receiver. I like this guy. I like him a lot. He really only had like 1 year of actual production in college, but I don't care. I like him.
Does that scare you at all, the 1 year of production?
No, it does not.
Not at all? All right.
I mean, I think like when he got the chance, he showed it, and like he looked pretty good to me. Like he plays faster than his 40 time. He's very great in space. A lot of people saw him as like the best yards after the catch guy in college football, which is impressive from a person who's, getting his first extended run on the field. But like I said, great and 10.9 yards after catch per catch. That's pretty solid. That also tells me that he wasn't necessarily used as a deep threat a lot, but I think he showed that ability. The numbers might not back it up, but I think the ability is there. He's got a very large catch radius. I know he's only 5'11", but I know me and you talked about this the other night. The measurables are there. If you look at like arm length and stuff like that, like his wingspan, what does he have, like an 80-inch wingspan?
Yeah, it was 80-inch.
If you look at those numbers, he profiles as someone that's like at least 6'3", and the guy's 5'11". He's like a running back in space. He'll help your return game out a lot. I think I'd be comfortable using him as the punt returner, even though I spent a first-round pick on him. Whatever. I think he'll help the Packers. I think he adds a need. He fills a need there. They've been trying to fill that receiver spot alongside Devontae Adams for about as long as I've been alive, I think.
Yeah.
So what it feels like.
Devin Funchess is not going to help.
Yeah, we're going to try to preserve Aaron Rodgers' title window as long as we can, even though I feel like that window is kind of shut. But, it's just my personal opinion. Moving on.
Brandon, 49ers, pick 31. Who you got?
I picked Denzel Mims here.
Ed, I know you like him a lot, so let's hear before I get into it.
I'm very for these physical tests at the combine. I like them a lot. It gives a little context behind like their ability and stuff. And seeing his 40-yard dash is a 4.38, 96 percentile speed score, which is adjusted to his height per playerprofiler.com. Also has a crazy catch radius, good size. Produced in college sophomore year, he was 19 years old, which is a pretty beautiful age, honestly, just to reach your peak. Not your peak, but to reach the 30% threshold.
A lot better receiver than I was at age 19. I'll give him that.
I'll give him that too. 19 years old, I was working at Target. So, Alex, you got anything to say about him?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about this before. I've come around on this a little bit more. I think this is a good spot for him. I wouldn't mind him here. I wouldn't want my Eagles to take him just because I think our coaching staff would screw it up because we can't develop receivers. But he reminds me a little bit, and I think this is kind of a lazy comparison, but he reminds me a little bit of Metcalf in the way that the route running polish isn't necessarily there. And I don't think you can trust him to run a lot of complex stuff, but the physical abilities are there, and he can run past people and jump over people, and that size and speed and catch radius you're just not going to see it from a lot of other players. And I think San Francisco, Shanahan can make that work with him.
For sure.
Shanahan, I think he's proven that if you give him talent, he can make it work.
He can.
And I think they just have to use him the way that Seattle used Metcalf. Just, run downfield, jump over that guy. That's it.
Exactly.
I think he'll be a good run blocker. When he's engaged, he's huge. So as long as they can keep him focused, I think this would be a solid pick.
Pick 32, I have the Chiefs taking Yetur Gross-Matos.
Yeah, who cares?
I don't know much about this man, honestly, so I'm just going to blast right
anyone. Who cares?
Oh, yeah, that's fair.
I don't like Penn State.
Chiefs fans might care, but who cares about Chiefs
Screw
fans?
Penn State. So that's where I'm at with this. KJ Hamler sucks, by the way.
Moving on to day 2 players.
Started off with a bang.
As you can see, yeah, you could certainly say it started off with a bang with DeAndre Swift being
And again,
selected by the Detroit Lions.
this is again where
And
I'd like to point out that, especially right now, is when this starts to be less about BPA and more about what sounds fun from a fantasy perspective. Because as you can see, we didn't do the whole draft. We're just kind of plopping skill position players down where we saw fit, just because. Like, we're giving Swift to Detroit because I don't like Carry-On. I don't really think Carry-On's very
actually,
good.
that particular scenario is not fun to me, being that I got Carry-On Johnson in my dynasty league.
Well, that was your dumbass fault.
Although I am hesitant with Carry-On because of his obvious flair and injury
Inability to run the
problems.
ball.
That too.
I do still believe he has the running talent
He's going to show up and
to
kick my ass if I say
do
anything else.
something
But
relevant.
I
But
like Swift. I know you love Swift, Ed,
Love Swift with a passion.
like this. This is
I wouldn't like the scenario in comparison to other scenarios that could be possible for fantasy purposes with Swift.
yeah. I mean, I don't know how Detroit fans would feel about this. I don't know if Detroit actually has a whole lot of fans, but
That's fair. Yeah,
if they could give their opinion, I'd like to hear it.
especially
if
after
I was the Lions here, I would personally select a quarterback.
this early. Who would you take?
Are you saying you take Love? Because we got Love at 43.
I would take
Eason? Jacob
Speaking of Love at 43, out of all of the unrealistic stuff we've made, if he actually falls to there, I feel like that's a really, really good pick.
Fair.
I mean,
For
Chicago
the
will probably
Lions?
screw it up, and like, it's also another admittance that Mitch Trubisky is a trash can. However, we all knew that from the moment he got drafted.
Yeah.
I think at the time he got taken over Deshaun freaking Watson, and I'm not going to sit here and try to say that I saw Patrick Mahomes as being the monster that he is, because I don't think a lot of people did. But Deshaun was still just chilling there, and they didn't take him because Mitch Trubisky's got like I don't know what were his attributes coming out of college.
I don't even know, to be honest.
That he's a white guy that played for North Carolina.
That is
That their team was actively worse with him as the quarterback compared to the other guy like a couple years earlier. What the hell were they thinking?
It's a good question.
We got J.K. Dobbins of the Chargers. That's kind of fun. Maybe he'll take that Melvin Gordon. I think that's fun from a fantasy perspective because
I just think the hype
Brandon.
recently about Justin Jackson, I feel like, is downplaying his possibility. But I'm not saying it's a bad scenario. I think it's pretty neat for J.K. Dobbins.
I mean, they used to give Melvin Gordon, I feel like, every single goal line carry that they could. So hopefully they give those to Dobbins. Your thoughts, Brandon?
This is not something I particularly find fun also because I have Eckler.
You can't think about Eckler. They're not going to use Eckler as like they're not going to give him every inside handoff unless you want him to die.
He's not bad.
Well, as a fantasy owner, I have the hopes.
Eckler is still going to have his role. I think they made their choice when they took him over.
He's definitely found his way into the playmaking ability. He's getting plays written up for him. So I guess this helps me feel comfortable with Eckler staying healthy and J.K. Dobbins coming in and just filling in for Melvin Gordon in a limited fashion.
There you go. We got Rager in Houston.
I love Rager personally.
I mean, I like Rager too. I mean,
we talked about the better quarterback play and whatnot thing earlier.
His quarterback play at LSU. Quarterback play at LSU is bad. Don't listen to me. His quarterback play at TCU is atrocious. So hopefully that'll improve in the NFL. It definitely would at Houston, but like, do we trust those idiots to do anything? Poor Deshaun Watson, man.
Bill O'Brien, ruining lives.
How the mighty fall. Even Houston got that right back, whatever year that was. 2017? It was 2017, right?
When Watson was drafted?
When they drafted Watson.
I think it was 16.
Maybe it was. I don't exactly remember. But, like, that's a huge indictment on Chicago that they screwed up what even Houston got right.
Yeah.
That's a hard thing to accomplish.
Fire Bill O'Brien
So,
also.
yeah. I think we
Traded
should
Hopkins.
shift gears and go into a podcast on making sure O'Brien gets fired. And
Yeah, can we just-
let's throw Adam Gase into the mix as well. Adam Gase and O'Brien can get fired. It can be a coachless team. Let's just have it coachless. Sam Darnold could coach that
I think
Jets
Bill
team
O'Brien's
better
not-
than Adam Gase. Let's
I don't think
do
Bill
it.
O'Brien's a horrible coach. I think he does stupid things as a coach. But I don't know if he's awful.
GM wise,
GM wise, he's like a cat.
I don't know what.
Like
He's-
I'm just trying. That was the first thing off my. You trust a cat to perform?
More than Bill O'Brien.
Yeah, you're right. Because cats
I would
always
trust a
look like
cat.
they have it out to get you,
Yes,
and O'Brien
and
has
that's
it
how
out
Bill
to
O'Brien
get
is with his fan
less
base.
value in bringing in David Johnson.
Guys, I know you're all excited about 27-year-old DeAndre Hopkins in his prime, but what if we traded him for a sack of potatoes? And we swapped 4th-round picks. Don't forget about that.
Now,
and
if he
then
was
we're
a
going to
cat-
trade.
If he
and
was
then we're
a
gonna
cat, wouldn't he
trade
be
his second-round
asking
pick.
for catnip?
Okay. Let's just remember this man compared Bill O'Brien to a cat in future episodes. Let's just bring that up. Okay.
That is going, yes.
I'm all for it. I'll defend anything I say.
So
that's a
when
lie.
Bill O'Brien gets fired, we'll just say the cat got fired.
All right, there we go.
Yeah.
From
Fixed.
Cats to the Colts, Philip Rivers
all right.
is getting Justin Jefferson.
Probably too late in the
Hilton.
draft, but
Definitely too late.
personally, I don't care for Justin Jefferson in the first round. I think a guy that has proven that he's great in the slot, and I think he put up great numbers in Indy. I don't. To me, you don't take a slot receiver in round 1. You don't do it. Cooper Kupp fell to the 3rd a couple years ago. There's a bunch of dudes this year in the 3rd that project to be good slot receivers. I don't see why I'd spend a first-round pick on one. I mean, the previous year, Justin Jefferson showed that he's not that great on the outside. So I don't see
Now,
it.
backtracking, what would your feelings be towards Detroit picking a player like Justin Jefferson to pair with Marvin Jones and Galloway?
I'd find it a waste, honestly.
Galladay.
All right.
I mean,
You
I
got
could
the slot
see.
receiver, and then you got the two
Don't they have
Paul-
Amendola?
receivers going deep.
oh yeah, they do have Amendola. Yeah, I can't see that.
I mean, replace Jefferson with Amendola. I personally find that to be a huge increase,
be
and that's
this
coming from someone who knows little to nothing about Jefferson.
What would you guys say
Okay.
about Edelman getting traded to the Lions? How would you feel about that?
I
That would be
mean,
interesting.
it seems like a stupid Detroit thing because
Yeah.
they're just going to siphon off all the Patriots players.
Yeah,
They how do you give Jamie Collins a contract after watching him go to Cleveland and just immediately revert into nothing? Re-sign with the Patriots, produce again, and then they're like, oh, obviously he's figured it out. Maybe he did, but that's
maybe
that's
just
ballsy.
domestically, the Lions just
And to me, they gave Vitae $50 million over 5 years. That shows me that they just don't really know what
Yeah,
they're doing down
yeah,
up there.
yeah, that was
Questionable.
very questionable.
So, what are your guys' opinions towards Justin Jefferson going to the Colts? I personally find it
I
pretty fun to think about because Rivers, I mean,
Peppers
he'll
is-
pass
You
it.
take
He'll
that
pass it
Keenan
to
Allen
the
role.
slot. Yeah.
exactly. I think
I
it'd be
mean, I think he'll get
beneficial
about
for Nick Benson,
65 targets a game, probably.
65 times.
It felt like Keenan Allen did. Seemed every time you look at his stats, 15 targets.
And let's
when
be
he
honest,
wasn't
as of
hurt.
right now, we don't know Marlon Mack as a receiving back. So if he
Not
possibly needs to check down, I mean, slot receivers next man up.
I don't really think Marlon Mack has showed anything in the receiving category.
Yeah.
Brick hands.
So-
And
Bad as Jordan
just-
Howard, honestly.
now just strictly based on Philip Rivers and his past. So that's
That's fair.
Yeah.
my
I like
opinion
that.
towards that.
With
Another
Mac,
guy I like, and I know you like him too, Ed.
I love him,
Tampa,
especially
Edwards
since
Hilaire.
Bruce Arians
Or
came out and said that they
Tampa
beat
Bay.
Tampa
I'm
Bay.
telling you, man, if Clyde Edwards-Hilaire was 6'1", he'd be a first-round pick.
It's fair. I just think his receiving ability is beautiful.
He's great.
He's
Also,
gonna-
he's great as a runner too. Like there were games that he really gave him a big boost. Like
I think the scheme
he's
helped.
tough to bring down.
I'm willing to say the scheme helped him a little bit,
Probably, but
but
he's a
as a,
very tough runner.
as a receiving back, I think Arians gets what he wants here. He stated it earlier in the month about how he wanted a receiving back. Obviously, this is a clear, good value in my opinion. Edwards-Helaire, second round pick 45.
Yeah, this is maybe one of the more realistic picks we have here.
Yeah.
Hunter Bryant, Chicago. I don't know. They've needed a tight end for a while. Remember, they signed Burton. They thought he would help. He kind of didn't. I feel like a lot of the tight ends here are all kind of like both Bryants are receiving threats, and I don't really think either of them are really going to be trusted to be blockers, at least not right away. But I mean, he'll be a threat up those seam routes at least for whoever's throwing him the ball. If it's Trubisky, it's not going to matter, and I doubt they'll go tight end here. But yeah, why not? I had to get him somewhere.
Fair.
Anyway, next pick, Chenault. Like him at
I think
Baltimore.
his yards after catch ability is pretty good. I've seen he broke an absurd amount of tackles. I don't remember the number off the top of my head, but he's good after the catch, built like a running back, okay hands, decent route tree. I would say he's not a great.
He doesn't really have like a sample size of like
Yeah.
downfield threat, like downfield plays in
Yes.
college. So maybe it's there, maybe it isn't. However, I know we've discussed this before. There's something fun about giving Baltimore all these toolsy players because they built a weird offense. So we're going to double down on that.
Double down.
Hamler at Miami. I don't like Hamler. He can't catch. I think he's Tavon Austin anyway.
Donovan Peoples-Jones to the Vikings. I don't like the man a lot. Physical test off the charts, but I don't think he's going to be a great receiver. Good return. Good returner. He can be good in the return game, but
He'd probably get a chance in Minnesota now that their second receiver is Brandon, maybe.
yeah.
What do you think, Brandon? Think you how you liking the Minnesota receiving core from a
So
fantasy perspective?
How are you going
Peoples Jones, Thielen.
in Minnesota?
What's there not to like? No, I
Ola
don't.
BC Johnson.
He said no.
I really don't think it
Stud.
changes much. I don't. I think the way they run their offense, I think this is the personnel they think they can win with, and they think it, but obviously they haven't really been doing it. So,
I mean, hey, they beat the Saints at least, so that was fun.
oh yeah, that was fun.
Well, that was a fun game to watch. We were watching that game.
Yes, we were.
That's good. Got Bryson Hopkins at Washington. I don't really know much about this guy other than like he can or can't catch. I'm not really sure. I don't care for Washington, so I hope they screw up.
Yeah, that fits the Washington MO.
Moving on.
Beautiful.
Another one of our favorites, Ed. Tyler Johnson to the Jets, unfortunately.
Oh no,
It's a shame.
that's a
I
shame.
love Tyler Johnson, though.
I love him too. Insane amount of market share, college dominator rating at Minnesota. 98th percentile for wide receivers. It's absurd to me, honestly. But
Production was absurd. I think there are like the speed isn't necessarily there. Neither is like the size. However, like the dude just got open. Like he knows how to get open. He's maybe the second best route runner in this class.
behind Judy.
He's got great, he's got great footwork. I think he'll get open, and maybe he'll suck, and we'll all be wrong. But that's why we do this.
That's why we do this.
Cole Kmet, a tight end. Whatever.
Keep the note that I have there. I didn't know what to say about the man. I know he played Notre Dame. I think he broke out his senior year. Finally, took him long enough.
I remember there was like some. Did he declare as a junior?
Did he? May have, yeah.
Let's find out.
That was last year. Pull up the numbers.
I don't know. Either way,
He declared as a junior. He had 15 catches his sophomore year, and then his junior year he had 43. So, yeah, didn't perform, didn't have any production really until his junior year. But he's not a bad player.
who do the
Next,
Colts have at tight end?
Jack Doyle.
Brandon, what's your thoughts on Jack Doyle?
Yeah.
Man, Jack Doyle, fantasy perspective.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like there's a shot at him being a decent plug-in tight end. I think
I
he
mean-
could end up putting up numbers just enough to make you scoot by and be able to wait on tight ends in the draft, which is a technique I love doing because you can get more depth in other positions
I'm
earlier.
happy you say that. There's a lot of tight ends in this draft. I
And
think there's a lot of tight ends this year.
I've heard that a lot of them aren't as good as most years.
Oh, sorry, I should clarify.
Yeah.
Maybe not in the NFL draft, but I'm talking in
Fantasy.
fantasy
Okay, yeah,
perspectives.
yeah. You mean
Like
okay?
there's a quality amount of tight ends. I feel like that's a position that's on the rise.
Yep.
There's a lot of dudes that I feel like you can just snag late. Like Tyler Higbee has been going super late.
Yeah.
I even
Anything I've
personally like
seen.
Tyler Eifert. That wouldn't be a bad choice in my opinion, especially meeting back with Jay Gruden down in Jacksonville. I feel like it's
Is that where he is?
yeah, he got signed. 2-year deal.
Huh.
I think it's worth it. I mean, honestly, having Gardner Minshew could be a
If you
little
can stay
tough.
healthy, sure.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
at
sure.
this point, I'm wondering if he's not just too like far gone by
I mean,
that.
he stayed healthy this whole past year.
Didn't do anything anymore.
I mean,
And
who
I guess
didn't?
he wasn't really put in a great spot.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess we'll see. Chase Claypool performed really well at the combine. I don't know if I feel like he's just kind of size and speed. I don't know if he'll really be effective in the NFL.
Yeah.
But we'll give him to Brady. See
if he
what
can
happens.
with him. Yeah,
Probably just play special teams.
probably.
Albert O. Brandon, you want to try to pronounce that for us?
Yeah, pronounce it.
I will not.
Brandon's going to pass on the pronunciations.
Nom Aqua Albert O is
Oh,
Atlanta's pick for the 3rd round.
it's really fast. Again, is Atlanta going to take a tight end here? Probably not, but we say that they are.
Really fast, really big. Helped Drew. I wouldn't say he helped Drew Lock, but he played with Drew Lock last year, and yeah.
Played with Drew Lock. That's on the center of my scouting report.
I mean, it is a key
Played
role
with
in.
Drew Lock.
I could probably put it on my resume, like played with, or no, I could put it on my resume. I did a Zoom chat with the future GM of the Philadelphia Eagles. Boom.
And
I
that's
wouldn't list
something
that.
we could do.
Don't
Yeah.
have-
I wouldn't list that.
I mean, it's
I
wouldn't list it
did
personally, but
a podcast with the future GM of the Philadelphia Eagles.
yeah, I probably wouldn't list that actually. That seems like a good way to not get the job.
I'm gonna apply to the Philadelphia Eagles for like an internship with that on my resume.
Moving on, pick 84. I know you like this, Ed.
Ed, Cam Akers.
Cam Akers.
I just feel like he's being undervalued just because of the fact that his O-line was just complete trash last year. His ability is there, in my opinion. Obviously, he's not going to be DeAndre Swift level talent, but I think he's right under him and Jonathan Taylor. I think those two are in a tier of their own, and I think he's right below him.
You putting him up there with J.K. Dobbins?
I don't even like J.K. Dobbins that much, but yeah, I'm
Ooh,
in the same tier.
spicy.
I'm not saying he's bad. I'm just saying I don't like
like
J.K.
him.
Dobbins from a fantasy perspective.
Spicy. Anyway, Antonio Gandy Golden, best name in the draft, by my opinion.
Yeah.
Very large human being. He played at Liberty.
Yeah, small school guy.
So
Bill Belichick loves that, you know.
I don't know if the Jared Stidham to Gandy Golden connection is really going to be must-see television, but it happens in our world. So
did you guys see that photo that was surfacing around the interwebs when the combine was going on and Bill Belichick was over in Middle Tennessee scouting some defensive end, pouring down rain in a hood, scouting one defensive end in Middle Tennessee instead of going to the combine. It was like, dang, he likes the small school people.
Seems like a Belichick thing.
Gandy Golden, small school, boom.
We got Brian Edwards to New Orleans. I think the biggest question here is, will he be the first NFL receiver to be successful with the name Brian?
This is a good question.
Like, Brandon, quick, name me a receiver with the first name Brian.
Well, earlier I would say Brian Hartline, but I believe Brian Hartline was spelled differently. So I'm guessing that doesn't apply.
It would definitely apply. I don't think anybody with the name Brian.
Oh, it applies?
Yeah.
Brian Hartline.
His name is Brian.
That's what I was thinking it was.
Are we going with the Brian with a Y? Maybe I should clarify that. Will he be the first Bry Brian?
B.R.Y.
successful in the
Bryant.
NFL.
Would he be the first BRY Brian in the NFL?
No, not at all.
Okay, well, that was a tweak on my
I guess
part.
there's a Brian Stills who is a receiver. Again, if you can tell me who that is, you are lying to me.
What do you know? What team he played on?
Me?
Yeah, he sounds like a Texan.
Brian Stills?
Yeah,
Brandon, what's your guess?
I don't know.
Texan.
The Patriots.
Patriots. I'm going to go with the Rams. Oh, he won MVP of the Sugar Bowl. That's something. He played for the. Oh, he got drafted by the Chargers. He played for the Falcons and the Cowboys. So we're all wrong.
We're all wrong. 3
If you
teams.
can tell me who he won MVP of the Sugar Bowl for, which team, I'll give you
Clemson.
$100. Clemson?
No, if it's $100, I'm gonna go with Baylor.
Brandon, how about you?
I'm gonna go with Clemson. You sound pretty surprised, like it
No,
was right.
Virginia Tech.
Oh.
Ooh, that would have been fair.
Anyway, moving on.
I could have guessed that. Moving on. Okay.
Benjamin. That's another guy you like, Ed.
I love this man. I compare him to LaShawn McCoy, and obviously that's big comp from an Eagles fan because those days are beautiful. I love those days. That team with Michael Vick, LaShawn
That
McCoy.
Detroit game.
Oh, even the Giants game, the Miracle in the
Or
Meadowlands.
that.
Great times. But Benjamin, great receiving back,
All
shifty.
those Super Bowls.
I just think he fits Kansas City, honestly. And you throw any running back there in Kansas City, and they can.
Yeah, any running back that can catch.
Yeah,
Just slot him in there with Mahomes.
it's a fact.
Adam Troutman?
Trotman.
I don't even know. Sounds like a trout.
Another small school guy. I'm just going to hand New England all the small school guys, I guess because of that Belichick video.
Yeah, just because of the Belichick video.
All right.
All right.
Also in round 3, we've got Michael Pittman. Did not drop a lot of passes for USC. Probably going to be a slot receiver in the pros. Very large man. He's a receiver.
All right.
This is what I mean. You can get a slot receiver in the 3rd round. Why would I spend a 1st-round pick on Justin Jefferson?
True.
I'm going to be very angry when we do this.
Now we've got Antonio Gibson going to Baltimore.
I love Antonio Gibson just because of how efficient he is, both receiving and running, honestly. And we've seen a couple of people from Memphis be efficient on the ground. And I'm not sure if it's just a Memphis thing or if it's like a player thing because Darrell Henderson was extremely efficient on the ground. I think he averaged about 8 or 9.
7.9 or something like that.
Something like that. It was pretty insane, honestly. And I just like Antonio Gibson as a tool player and going to Baltimore. Obviously, we said it earlier, we're doubling down on that weird offense they got. So go with it.
Just going to give Baltimore all those weird fits.
Yeah.
And in the 4th round, we got Jalen Hurts. And
like
this is something I said earlier. Why wouldn't the Lions draft a quarterback instead of going DeAndre Swift? And, I mean, if Hurts pans out, they got a value in a running back and a quarterback.
I don't know. I do not know where Jalen Hurts is going to get drafted. I really don't. I like him. I don't know how much of him was Lincoln Riley and how much of it was him, but very intelligent guy. He's got the physical traits you want to see in a quarterback. Very tough. I like him. In the 4th, I really like him.
Yeah.
I don't know if go ahead.
I think if the Lions coaching staff changed, I think the quarterback, the starting quarterback, I think Matt Stafford would honestly get traded or cut eventually if the coaching changes happen. I think Jalen Hurts pops up and he becomes a starter with DeAndre Swift. That's a nasty duo, I believe.
How say they'll cut him? I don't know if they're cutting him anytime soon. You talking like 2-3 years or like tomorrow?
No, like a year or 2, I'd say.
He's got moving that contract.
Exactly.
Would be tough.
That's the
in
thing.
The next couple of years.
Yeah.
Well, then again, who knows? Maybe the Texans will take him.
The Texans probably will take him, and they'll trade Deshaun Watson to New England for like a bag of riced broccoli.
Right. Riced broccoli. That's a good one. Never heard of that one before.
Yeah, they're good. We're getting really good player comps.
Yeah.
Player comps, like potential trade packages. I'm trying to get creative because obviously we've seen he valued DeAndre Hopkins at an overpriced bust of a running back and a second-round pick.
Yeah.
So, like, what does he value a franchise quarterback at? Is it 4 first-round picks? Is it toothpaste? We don't know.
Toothpaste.
Anyway, next in the draft, we've got Colin Johnson at Cleveland. Great receiving name. It's really about all I got for you. I don't think he'll do much. Now, a guy that I think could be productive as soon as this year is Zach Moss at Jacksonville. I think that's a good spot for him. I know you guys are high on Armstead.
I don't like Moss as a player, but I like Armstead behind Fournette if anything happens to Fournette, because obviously the organization in Jacksonville hasn't seemed too dedicated to Fournette. At least they haven't seemed all in on him.
I mean, why would you be?
He's pretty talented. I like him.
He catch.
It is running back, so I understand that.
He caught a lot last year.
It's
just he looks like he's in pain while doing so.
Looks like he's in pain. I mean, he was balding in college, so I understand it, I guess.
I don't know. I at the time, I thought taking him at pick 4 was dumb.
Oh, very dumb.
I think it's very dumb in hindsight.
Yeah.
I don't know who they could have got after him, but probably someone who could have helped them.
Yeah.
And then we got
TJ Yeldon the second round, like the year prior.
Yeah.
And then
we
got
every NFL team is stupid. Go ahead, Brendan.
And then we got Van Jefferson going to the Jets.
Speaking of dumb
all right,
teams,
let's move on. Adam Gase, another one done.
Can I just point out, I don't really care for Van Jefferson, and I especially don't like the Jets. That's why I was adamant that Van Jefferson was going to the Jets. Just screw the Jets.
All right, let's move on to the Colts. Anthony McFarland. What are your guys' opinion towards him?
I believe he's an electric playmaker. He's not an insane talent. He's not an insane athlete, but I think as a backup in Indianapolis, I think he can get a few plays that might open eyes. I feel like he might be a valuable asset down the road. He can catch, unlike Marlon Mack.
All right.
Yeah.
That's good. Fourth round. Versatility. That's what we like.
That's what we like.
Tight end to Pittsburgh here. I mean, not really very much of an inline tight end, more of an Evan Ingram type tight end where he's going to go out and catch passes. But, hey, man, there's a role for these guys. And I think from a fantasy perspective, if Harrison Bryant gets on the field, I would think, could put up numbers. The guy is, like 6'6"?
Yeah.
Fast.
The thing is, they did just bring in Ebron. So
yeah, but I mean, gotta run those two tight end sets. I think of Harrison Bryant more of his like
McDonald always gets hurt, and Ebron is hurt currently. So
that's why I think of Bryant less of a true tight end and more of just some of his hybrid types. You're probably not going to trot him out next to the right tackle and have him chip the edge rusher every time, but can you go out and catch? Probably. That's why I like it. And speaking of, again, slot receivers, you can get them wherever. KJ Hill, 4th round to our Eagles. I like this pick a lot. I feel like he was pretty reliable at Ohio State, and I think he projects to do the same in the NFL. As you put there, Ed, poor combine. I don't care. 4th round. He'll do some stuff.
I believe it.
Do you like this pick, Brandon? Him or Greg Ward? Who you got?
KJ Hill.
Thank you.
Respectable. All right. 133 Seattle, A.J. Dillon. I personally find A.J. Dillon attractive. Well, pause.
Wow, Ed. No. Things are coming out we weren't expecting.
This guy in his closet's right here. A.J. Dillon in college, I think, proves as a good goal line back, obviously, just because of how big he is. Some people, don't like him just because he can't catch, but I don't think his role is going to be receiving, obviously. So fantasy-wise, I'm not sure if there's much attractiveness to him. But
probably not next year, especially with Chris Carson. But taking all of those carries.
Chris Carson is still injured, and I don't understand the use of Rashad Penny there. I thought he was going to be like a receiving back kind of player, but he's not. I don't know what the use is there. And Chris Carson is catching more passes than Rashad Penny. And it just boggles my mind what they're doing there. But I wouldn't say it's far-fetched for them to draft A.J. Dillon.
Boggles my mind that they took Rashad Penny at pick 27 to begin with.
It's fair.
Seattle just throwing away those late first-round picks.
They are.
L.J. Collier. I think that was the guy they took last year.
Was indeed, yeah.
Never heard of him.
Yeah.
Played it.
Another
He's a
person who I never heard of is Devin Duvernay.
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 I like him. I like him. I don't like that he went to Dallas. I think you summed it up there, like the yards after catch.
Open.
He's got. I'm pretty sure he's a converted running back. I thought he was.
I think he might have been, yeah.
Like he's got those skills. Like you want to get the ball in his hands in space and just let him go at it. Be that gadget player for them.
And then you love this pick, Alex, don't you? DJ Dallas. What a name.
What do I think about him?
What do you think about DJ Dallas, Alex?
I think he was in the sleeper app, so I was forced to assign him to a team.
This is a valid statement.
I know that his name is DJ. DJ? DJ or DJ. Either way, it's a hilarious name.
He said Honey Dijon Mustard.
Yeah, it looks like it. Honey Dijon Dallas.
Dijon
That's
Dallas.
stupid.
That's good.
That is an
Yeah.
interesting. It went to Miami as a receiver, switched to running back. That's interesting.
Played quarterback in high school. It's pretty interesting for sure.
Yeah, he can be that guy at the bottom of the roster that if the other three quarterbacks and the emergency quarterback gets hurt, he steps in.
Greg Ward, exactly. Earl Pryor. Remember those people that just disappear? It's crazy.
Again, the only reason DJ Dallas is on here is because he was in the sleeper app and I was forced to assign him to a team. No disrespect to Mr. Dallas, but I don't like his last name and I've never heard of him. But he's probably never heard of me either, so it's fair.
It's a fair observation, Alex.
That
Philadelphia Eagles.
that concludes our mock draft.
It does indeed, and everything will be in the description below, as far as Twitter links to our accounts, and yeah, share, like, subscribe. We love y'all.
Twitter.
Yeah. Next week, make sure to check in. We're going to do a post on a Dynasty mock draft on each and every player we picked and their locations we picked them to. So
Just the
check
rookies.
it out.
So we'll
And
do some more arguing about player value.
yep, and some more great player comps.
And coaching
and
comps,
even
apparently.
coaching comps.
Yeah.
So I hope
I gotta
you Texan
come up
fans
with a
out there are
comp.
happy with your cat as a coach and GM.
I'm so sorry if you're a Houston fan. I am so sorry. I can't even imagine what that would be like. If I had to wake up to see that we had traded DeAndre Hopkins for a second round pick and David Johnson, I don't think I could be held responsible for my actions.
Let us know down below if you want a whole
I'd cry.
if you want a section of Alex's thoughts. I feel like they would be very beneficial and help you expand your mind. So let us know.
Me. Right.
And other suggestions as well are greatly appreciated. We're up and coming. We're trying to be transparent here. We aren't experts. We're going to make that very clear. We're trying to provide entertainment and also a little bit of our knowledge. So
Just a
it
little.
may not all be spot on. So if you're looking for professional knowledge, this isn't the podcast for you. But if you're looking for some laughs,
I
check
don't know,
us
man.
out.
Doing for some definitely check us out.
I think we're gonna hit on some. I think you get some solid advice here. My man, the huge Darren Waller fan back before it was a thing.
He did call
Me and you were pushing the Darren Waller, Mark Andrews hype trains way before anyone else was.
I called the Terry McLaurin breakout. I'm just gonna say that.
And
Yeah,
called
that too.
out.
You were all about that. Brandon didn't help your team though. Shouldn't have drafted Antonio Brown, but anyway.
Any questions,
better this year.
anything, leave them in the comments, tweet at us, anything.
Hope everyone's staying safe right now. Stay inside.
Everybody stay safe. Stay inside.
Do not lick the bathrooms. Do not
And
lick the
don't-
toilet seats.
Please don't lick toilet seats.
Stop buying all the
bathroom
toilet paper.
floors,
Save toilet paper for
shower heads, and let's leave some toilet paper out there for bigger families.
Okay, goodbye.